we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means, on infiltration instead of invasion, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. There is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it.
All right, welcome to episode 89 of the Abuse Hour. It is I, your host, Coffee Long, coming to you unsupervised, unmedicated, and an unchecked threat to society. All right, man, I'll tell you something. I am tired like 10 motherfuckers, but I think, and I rarely try to make a prediction like this, but I think I have what could be a pretty solid episode. I had some things to think through and some things to put together, but today I want to talk a little bit about not so much about the goings on that are out there, although I got to look at the news because I am recording this on a Friday and the big news always comes out on a Friday, so the chances of getting news cucked are always at an all-time high. But I don't really think there's anything going on, especially news interesting. I mean, there's some weak sauce type shit of like some Tim Walz action and what Hunter Biden action, but I mean, really, that's some of the most uninteresting stuff you can imagine. I do want to talk a little bit about this Russia thing that came out, where again, it's like Russiagate round 2. They're influencing our elections, and okay, all right, whatever, dude. So I want to get 2 cents in on that, but then I want to get some thoughts in on the idea of bullying and kind of, I don't know, how can I say, how that is or is not what we're seeing and what it means for you. And then lastly, I want to end on the rare and infrequent white pill, something of a white pill, something of a little pick-me-up, a little get out and get some type thing. But we'll save that for the end. So, fucking hell, I'm about to get run over by a fucking UPS guy. Oh shit, he be eyes and teeth and shit. Oh man, never a dull moment. Right, so anyway, kicking it off, dude. This I saw this thing yesterday where it's what the fuck was it? Like some kind of a press release from DOJ where they are saying that they got a hold of some kind of Russian agenda for generating influence in the U.S. via social media, and it was pretty fucking milquetoast, to be quite honest. They didn't post the original document. I don't know that it would have taken much effort to generate an original document, just run it through, the Google Translate or whatever. But it was this translated document, and it was talking about, here's the way that we want to talk through influencing on social media. These are the things that Americans care about, and we want to push them in a direction that benefits Russian interests. And really, why would you not? I mean, you are a world superpower after all, and let's not fucking front like the U.S. doesn't do this shit. I mean, we stand up entire color, like the phrase colored revolution, right? It's not like a revolution of colors, but when they say color revolution, they're talking about like the green revolution, the orange revolution, all these things that go on that are obviously U.S. sponsored in all these different countries, that really just benefits, well, not me and you Americans, but the people, pulling the wires. Those Americans, the people, going out and doing wacky shit in your name with your tax dollars. It definitely benefits them, and it definitely goes on. So I don't know what this pearl clutching bullshit is of like, oh my God, can you believe the nerve of these people? But moreover, it just strikes me as odd, I guess, because looking at the things that they're hitting on. They're talking about inflation. They're talking about the cost of living. They're talking about how white people are being marginalized and pushed out of their own society. They're talking about all manner of privileges for minority and bunny ears colored people. So, like, where's the fucking mystery, dude? Like, what's the angle here? What's the part that's like, oh, these motherfuckers? Like, no, it's pretty straightforward, dude. These are all things that are pretty obvious. I don't need a CNI dog to figure this out, right? But moreover, it's odd to me that, I guess the thing that always sort of, I want to say, intrigues me, if you will, about Russia is that it's so fucking foreign and it's so fucking remote. And I guess like if you've ever, like if you're a military dude or you've done some travel, like any appreciable travel, you start to understand how big the world is, man. It's a big fucking place. And it's made to seem small, you know, via the internet and so on, but it's a very big place. And to actually go to some of these places, these far away places in these far away corners, it's a long trip. And you start getting to where you don't know what day it is. You don't know what time it is. You can't really say with any degree of certainty how long you've been traveling. So you get somewhere and you have no idea. It's like the middle of the night, but I don't know if it's today, it's tomorrow. I'm looking at my watch. When did I leave? What's even going on? And if you call back home, then it's like, hey, how long have I been gone? You know, it's very weird. So looking at the fact that like a Russia is this far away place, and then knowing that somehow they're in a position to like hit the nail right on the head. They're like, yeah, these are the things that Americans give a shit about. These are the things Americans are concerned about. These are the things we can say that are going to resonate with these people. This is how we can proceed. And then somehow just hit the nail right on the head. And you're like, yeah, that does piss me off. Yeah, the fact that, you know, I can't go to a college, you know, unless my scores are just off the fucking charts. But Tyrone can walk right in there. Or even more so, now like an illegal alien can walk right in there like, oh, we need more of you. You're what we want. And walk right in there and get a seat at the table. I can't do that. Real head scratcher. You don't got to be a fucking rocket scientist to recognize this shit. So it really only leaves us with like two options. So on one hand is that somehow these Russians are over here figuring out what flips your switch and what gets you going and what you care about. Somehow from the other side of the planet, they're able to do this when the people in your own country aren't able to do it. These people out of 360 million people want to claim that they know better than anybody. I know better how to lead this country. I know what you need. I know what you want, and I know how to get it. They know better than any of these people what's on your mind. Yeah? And somehow they're going to exert undue influence because of that. Or option two is the people driving the train in this country do actually understand. They do actually know what's pissing you off and what's on your mind. Because really, this ain't a fucking hard equation to solve, right? This ain't difficult. It ain't tricky. It ain't rocket surgery. They know what's going on. That's what I think. So either they don't know and the Russians are figuring out better, or just like the Russians, they also know, only they don't give a fuck. And they've been bullshitting you the entire time. To say like, oh no, you're not being replaced. Oh no, you're not being marginalized. Oh no, you're not being ripped off. You're actually getting a fair shake. In fact, the guy that we're pushing you out of the way to hook up, the guy that we're turning a blind eye to as he rapes and murders people in your neighborhood, now that guy's still actually getting the short end of the stick, and you still owe him. So don't badmouth him, or we're going to come for your ass. So for my money, they do know this shit, and they're just lying to you. So in either scenario, though, does it not suggest that just maybe it's time for a change in the lineup? And for my money, quite honestly, you could pick just about anyone. Have a random fucking drawing. Some autist out of some neighborhood somewhere that doesn't really know shit. Present the guy with the simple fucking questions. Hey, do you think we should send a few $1 billion to this country on the other side of the planet that doesn't do shit for us? I don't see why we should do that. Good job, autist. Look at that. You're already out in front. You're already winning. You're already doing a better job than the people who say that they know better than anybody and have been at this for decades. Wow, amazing. Incredible autist. Nobody has autists like us. The best autists. We have amazing autists here. So that whole thing, I don't know where they're going to go with it, and I'm not sure exactly what the gripe is. I guess the understanding is something along the lines of there was some pool of money pushed out to different, bunny ears influencers. And again, these people, the people that I saw named, I can't remember all. I remember Tim Pool was definitely on there, and I'm like, Tim fucking Pool, who the fuck is that guy influencing? I mean, that is the most fucking dead-end, circle jerk fucking lobster trap I've ever seen in my life. Like, this guy has no edge. This guy has edge like a fucking bowling ball. All right, who the fuck is taking their cues from Tim fucking Pool? All right, I mean, this is the most milquetoast of broke dick fucking takes, dude. I mean, if a dude's coming out there and saying, like, you know, I feel like there's, like, some rich people that are, like, exerting influence and, like, they kind of hook themselves up, but you end up paying. Wow, dude. Wow, how did you come up with that? I mean, you got, like, a crystal ball or some shit? I mean, oh, this is amazing, right? This is not a hot fucking take. Get the fuck out of here. So somehow this guy is getting money pushed to him, and then it comes out that, like, somehow it was getting piped through this Russian interest group and then onto him. And I saw a tweet from this guy yesterday from fucking Tim Pool, and he's talking about, he's no shit talking about, yeah, you know, I got some funding, but I was totally unaware that there was Russian influence. So actually, like, I'm the victim here. And I guess in a way, you know, yeah, you didn't know where this money came from, and somebody hands you like some pretty perfectly fucking obvious talking points that, I mean, I'm not making many different talking points here. I'm just calling it what it is, though. I'm perfectly willing not just to name the disease, not just to name the symptoms. I'm willing to name the cancer behind it. Yeah, and I think that's where the difference is. Where, like, yeah, these cats over here that are pointing the finger and saying the words, we're not going to fund these idiots. But Tim Pool, so in a way, you want to say he's a victim. Sure, he's a victim. He's a victim of his own mediocrity, if he's a victim at all. Like, you're a victim of you, Tim. You're a victim of you having no fucking balls. You're a victim of sitting there with no fucking spine and saying the broke dick milquetoast words that get put in front of you for a few dollars more. And me, I'll fucking re-emphasize, man, that, like, I only do this for the fucking rants. I only do it for the lulz. I don't get shit. I have zero sponsors. I have zero connections. I mean, I guess I could say I do know a few people in a few places just based on my previous life, but I don't get anything that I'm not disclosing. Like, I don't get fucking paid. I don't get fucking funded. I don't got any inside baseball that pretty much nobody has. All I have is fucking experience. Experience and a willingness to call a thing what it very obviously fucking is. But to that end, then, I mean, there's not too much else to say about that. I mean, it just kind of is what it is, and I'm sure they're going to run with this. They're not going to let this thing lie, and I don't honestly know. Like, I have seen a lot of people that are like, who gives a shit? I mean, because that's the thing. I think a lot of these people do come with this mindset that you can run the same gag twice. Because, I mean, we've seen them float. Like, we've seen them float a few of these cop on black stories, and everybody's like, man, fuck you. We've seen a float, they floated a couple of these like bird flu or swine flu or some kind of flu, fucking, Bornean cannibal flu or what the hell ever, and everybody's like, man, fuck you, I'm not doing that again. You can go piss up a rope. Literally everybody. Even the most hoax-buying, fish hook in the mouth COVIDiot is like, yeah, I'm going to probably they'll just sit quietly. Nobody's getting excited about, we have to stop the damn virus. Like, that's not happening no more. All right. And I think it's going to be the same with this shit, where it's like, oh, Russia, bro, can you guys believe what? And everybody's just going to be like, you know what, man, fuck you. This is fucking stupid. So it is kind of an interesting case of the electorate being a little smarter than these clown dicks anticipate and thinking that, yeah, we can run the same gag twice, but nobody's buying it. So where it goes from here, I guess we'll just have to see. But moving along, oh, this is what I wanted to hit on. I spent yesterday, as promised, man, Albania-posting. I promised some Albania-posting, and I read up on it, and there is some interesting shit, man. So I read up on Albania, and I will say that I don't know, dude. I gotta spell the whole thing out, man, because there's a lot to take in. There's a lot to take in, and there's some fucking laughers in here. But check this shit out. So the Albanian thing, I don't even remember. I think it was because I was saying something about that Liam Neeson movie, that Taken shit, where like the human traffickers were these Albanian fuckers, and like, okay, they're Albanian. I'm like, what do I fucking know from Albanians, right? So somebody was like, and then I thought it was like a gag in the chat where it's like, yeah, bro, Albanians, let's get to that. And then nobody says anything, and I'm like, are you guys just fucking with me? Is there some kind of Albanian meme that I just don't get? But apparently not, man. So I looked into the Albanian thing, and check this shit out. You're going to love this shit. So Albania is, it was formerly controlled by the communists, right? Like it's this kind of mountainous, rural shitbox state. And if you're Albanian, I'm fucking sorry, Holmes. But also, too, if you're Albanian, there's apparently like at least, I want to say it's like 3 times more Albanians living outside Albania than actually in Albania. So don't act like, you're fucking butthurt. If you're Albanian, you're like, this is my country, bro. I can't do an Albanian accent. I don't know what I have no idea what it sounds like, right? But you can't say like, bro, my country. Like, no, you don't even live in your country. You fucks don't like your country. Don't come to me with some kind of like, bro, my country. But so I read up on this shit, and Albania is like this little shitbox of a country, right? And I guess it had been rolled into the fucking Yugoslavian tip a while back and got its independence in 1991, I think it is. So prior to that, it resisted, I guess it had resisted the Ottoman Turks for quite a while, and this is like their claim to fame, and I can't remember the guy's name. It's the statue, the guy on a horse, and it's like their, medieval, folk hero. But this guy had resisted the Ottoman Turks rolling in, and then shortly after he died, they rolled in anyway. So it's kind of like, okay, well, cool, holding off for a while, like good work, Albanians. But this was like a 15th century type thing. It became what it became. The Ottoman Empire kind of crumbled, but obviously, like, just looking at the people and looking at some of the customs and the culture, a lot of that weird shit stayed on. And I'll get to that, dude. Like, a lot of that Arabic, that Muslim culture, the superstition, some of the behaviors, this shit, it stayed on. And I'll get to it because it's fucking hilarious. In any case, it gets rolled into the Yugoslavian type tip, and the guy that was in charge of Albania, I guess, and I can't remember, this guy's name was like Hotul or some kind of shit like this. This guy subscribed more to the Maoist version of communism and less to the Soviet version, which I'm not your communist connoisseur, so exactly what those differences are, I couldn't really say, but I guess there was a real strong focus on self-reliance. So kind of like, a lot of us talk about, like, there was a big push for, like, you got to be able to take care of yourself. They really pushed the literacy rate thing. They really pushed self-sustenance, like you being able to provide for yourself, care for yourself, take care of yourself. And then I guess all over the country is these like these little bomb shelters, like these one-man turret looking fucking things. And I guess they're still there, but they're sort of like, they're almost like bus stops, and they look like just little small domes, and they're like little 1 or 2 man, bunkers, if you like. And I guess their concern was like, hey, if somebody ever invades us, now we're going to be able to just, the citizens are going to rise up, and they're going to go and set up in these bunkers and fuck people up, onesie twosie. I was like, I can't decide if that's cool or weird. But from everything I see is that, these things are still there, and I don't know, they're especially maintained, but I guess some of them they've turned them into like little museum type things, like little cultural checkpoints or whatever. You're like, hey, come check it out. So I thought that was, I want to say cool. I'm not completely sure what to think of it. Anyway, so I read some more on Albanian culture, and this is like some of the part where it starts to get trippy, like where you start to see some of this very Arabic influence, and honestly a lot of stuff that I saw in Afghanistan where it's like, why are you so fucking weird, right? They have some things that are like, they're extremely strict on, and some things that you think like, hey, maybe don't do that, where they're like, whatever, who gives a shit, right? So they have this cultural honor code that they call BESA, and I can't remember all the words for it or whatever, but translated is basically like the code for behavior within the culture. So this is from like a 15th century document. So this is from like way the fuck back. And these are mostly tribal people. So you will see, like, if you have any familiarity with like the Visigoth code or any of the tribal laws around Nordic tribes, this kind of thing, especially where there was a lot of branching out, like moving through Europe, and as they moved as a little tribe, there was a lot of particulars about, look, this is the way you fucking behave. Some things you could do whatever the fuck you want to do, but some things over here, like, you gotta fucking do it just so. And a lot of what you'd see here was basically like, if you say you're gonna do a thing, you fucking do it. Because especially, I think, in these primitive tribes, like, your word is really all you have. There's not really an army to come and get you. There's not a police force. There's not even much of a tribal community to take action to ensure things are done just so. There's not like a fucking council of elders, right? So it's really just down to you and the boys you're with. So you say you're going to do a thing, you better fucking do it. So the summary, like the one sentence summary of this BESA code was that, I guess translated the way it comes out, is do and lose, says the code, not do and take. So, for our purposes, what this translates more accurately to is like, the code is telling you do these things even if you're going to lose, not do these things just because you're going to win. So the idea here is that you do these things. All right, yeah, we expect sometimes you're going to lose. We expect sometimes this won't be to your benefit. That's not the point. The point is not for you to come out ahead. The point is for you to follow the fucking code. And in that sense, I was like, well, that's actually pretty cool. Like, and a lot of the code focuses on how you treat what they call the guest. So the guest is a lot like you might think of it, is both the person coming into your house and then coming into the community as kind of an outsider, like someone walking in. Yeah. And this was the same thing that you saw in Afghanistan. Like, they take this shit train wreck serious. So if you remember that deal, the Marcus Luttrell thing, the lone survivor thing, where some Afghan dude took him into his house because he was all fucked up or whatever and on the run, and he's the last dude alive. Some Afghan dude takes him into his house. They have the same thing this way. So he's the guest, and you are responsible to your death for that guest. So if whoever the fuck comes, man, I mean, Allah himself, hey, give me that guy. Fuck you. All right, if that guy's busted up and you say, hey, I'm going to treat you till you're fixed up or until a doctor comes or whatever, you are responsible for that guy, even if it means you and your whole family get smoked. And so, like you saw with the Marcus Luttrell situation, like, that guy took it seriously and he walked the walk. I mean, for as back-asswards as a lot of the shit is in that part of the world, and especially in Afghanistan, you can't knock how that guy got down, man. That guy did the fucking deed. So bouncing back to Albania, then, this is the way that they talk about it as well. So, like, somebody comes to your house or you take someone in as a guest, the kind of the flow of the whole thing is that they will give up their weapons to you. Like, they'll leave their weapons, and that's them showing that they're not there to harm you. And it's also making it incumbent upon you that you are now responsible for their safety. Right? So if they're in your house and they're unarmed, you are fucking responsible now, man. Whatever comes down the pipe. The idea is that you will always lead the guest, that you'll show them around, that you'll like, hey, here's your spot, here's this, here's that. That you'll give them the favored seat, as they call it. And the way it's specified here is that, one, you give them the favored seat so that they feel honored and they feel appreciated and welcome coming into your home. But it also makes it so that you can keep an eye on them, right? So they're in that highly visible spot. You're not stuffing them in a corner. You're here at the head of the table where everybody can see you. So if you try some weird shit, now we're all on you. But otherwise, here, take the good seat. It specifies that they will eat from the same food that you eat. They'll eat the same bread you eat, drink the same water you drink. So it's not like you take somebody in and like, let me see if I got some leftovers. Like, no, dude, they're your responsibility. You have to fucking take care of these people. So they eat, again, whatever you eat. And then it was a trip because this code, it specifies like they are your responsibility until you walk them out of the house. You walk them out till you're going to say goodbye. You hand them their weapons, and then you turn your back on them at the gate They're on their fucking own now. If somebody comes by and smokes them, or they get into it, or somebody snatches them up, it's not your fucking problem. This is not your problem. Like, this thing went on to specify that, like, you know, if you deliver somebody to be killed, like you deliver a guest to be killed, they say that, like, you could, you know, essentially pay the fine or some kind of a thing for, like, if it was you murdered your own brother, you murdered somebody in your family. Like, well, you know, fights happen, people get killed, it is what it is. But if you facilitate the murdering of Bunny Ear's guest, like, that's your ass. You're not buying your way out of this, dude. You really, really fucked up. So I thought that was really interesting. But I then bumped over to, like, let's look at the corruption index. And sure as shit, Albania is listed as one of the most corrupt countries in Europe. And interesting, because Albania is a member of NATO, but not a member of the EU. And I know, like, for the longest time, there was the argument about Ukraine that, like, oh, well, we're not letting Ukraine in because Ukraine is so corrupt. So my question then is, like, is Ukraine so corrupt that is it more corrupt than Albania? Or is it that was kind of the way that we arrived at a happy medium with leaving Russia kind of a buffer zone, right? Because that was, you know, part of this Minsk agreement thing. Like, there's going to be like a kind of neutral zone. You guys stay the fuck over there. We'll stay over here. Everything's everything. But with Albania listed as one of the most corrupt countries, certainly in Europe, it made me look a little deeper. And surprise, surprise, surprise to fucking prize, I look, and on the Yad Vashem website, they're talking about the way that Albanians would not turn over Jews fleeing, the Third Reich and fascist states, well, Germany and Italy, like, would not turn over any of the Jews that fled to Albania. So, as you can imagine, I wonder how this got so fucking corrupt. But it talks about, like, reading the general history of Albania. It's technically an atheist state. And I don't know exactly how you mean atheist. Maybe if that's a holdover from the communist era, or if that's just to say, like, the government doesn't take a position on religion, and they run on about, like, well, there can be a church and a synagogue and a mosque all in close proximity and everybody just gets along. And I'm like, bullshit. I don't believe this for a fucking second. I didn't go too much farther down the kosher rabbit hole as far as Albania goes, but it did kind of raise an interesting question, I guess, or maybe a kind of an observation, I guess. Because when I look at, like, these tribal laws, right, this BESA, this kind of code of conduct, for how a person behaves socially, it would seem, that it's a very strict code of conduct. And look, man, this is the way you're going to behave, and this is the way that people should expect to get treated when they're here, and this is what you're responsible for. But for my money, to the same, well, fuck, not even to the same degree, but to a much greater degree than what we have in America, this thing leaves a lot of room for somebody to wade in and really exploit this, right? That, like, somebody shows up on your doorstep and is, like, rubbing their little hands, and they're like, hey, guy, come out here, guy, I'm in bad shape, I need a little help. And they can't fucking refuse you. Right now they come out here and they're like, Shlomo, again, what is it that you need? I just need a place to sit for a little while, guy. Oh, I think I might stay. I think I may stay just a little while. And now you're stuck, right? Now you're stuck with these fucking clowns. But it reminded me of a saying that I had read a while back when I was much, much younger, in my formative years, and I had read a book on criminal psychology, like the mindset of the criminal. One of the key, there was two key takeaways that I took out of that topic. And the first was that it is not that criminals don't play by any kind of code or any kind of rules. They just don't play by your rules. So when you're talking about, like, cops or society, you can look at it that direction. I think you could also look at it from the direction of someone coming in looking to subvert society, right? It's not that these people don't play by any rules. They just don't play by your rules. It's not that they're on no program. They're just not on your program. So what you see, when you see cops or whatever, politicians or shit during press conferences, and people are talking about, well, he's a madman, he's insane, he's crazy, he's unpredictable. No, dude, he's just not playing your fucking game. All right, maybe people are, there are crazy people, nutty people. There's fucking screwballs everywhere, right? But to make that assumption, almost give somebody a free pass. Like they've got no program, they've got no plan. There's no way, oh, gee, it's completely unpredictable. It's like hood logic, right? Like, oh, who could have guessed? The usual suspects. Another target looted. Who could have guessed on this? But the other thing that I took out of that particular book, and I can't even remember what it was. It was a long, long time ago. But there was a what was described as an old Italian saying that was, the law is like the spider web. It catches the fly but allows the eagle to fly free. And that really stuck with me insofar, especially now when we look at what's going on in places like UK, in Western Europe, and this kind of thing. This is something that we see play out like in spades. And this really, like, it kind of hit me right in the face as I was looking at some of these clips of some of this shit going on. Because I know you remember, like, you've seen these videos of, Muslims coming out in, like Sweden or Germany or UK, and they got their fucking machetes and they're out in force and they're just beating the shit out of people. And like cops will come out and they're like, oh, come on now, come on, let's behave, lads, come on, easy, fellas. And these fuckers are just going whole hog, and they're throwing shit and swinging and going fucking nuts. And these cops look like goddamn Keystone Capers, man. They're all over the place, just like falling down, falling on their ass. And you're like, man, what is this embarrassing shit? These cops they're just pussies. And that's your immediate takeaway. But now more recently, I just saw one from Ireland where there's some school teacher. It's some school teacher that refused to refer to some sexual degenerate at his school as a he, they, or Zyzz or whatever the flavor of the day was. Wouldn't do it. He's like, I'm not doing it. I'm not playing this game. The cops come and arrest this fucking guy. And they come and snatch this fucking guy up. They come and snatch this guy up like, you motherfucker. And they're strong-arming this guy. Come here, you, right, come here. And you see, it's this same kind of a flavor. Like when they roll in, like we were talking about last time, they roll in, they walk right into somebody's house, and they're just big dick swinging in somebody's front room. They're like, right, I'd like you to stand up, come over here, you're going downtown, you are. Like, just no fucking mercy, man. And it's like there's no question in their mind that, like, I will rip this fucking guy a new asshole if he fucking tries me for half a second. Like, no question in their mind. And they're snatching people up. I saw one where a gaggle of like riot cop looking cops in UK knocked some old woman down. I don't know what she was doing out there. I mean, I don't know if she was being a pain in the ass or what, but I mean, at some point, right, there's got to be a reasonable use of force. I mean, I'll tell you, I did a lot of hits and I ran into a lot of old women, lots and lots and lots of old women. I didn't ever have a need to knock them on their ass. I mean, I knocked a lot of people on their ass, but never like some old woman on a cane. All right, I see this old woman on a cane, and these guys are knocking her the fuck down, and she's like, she can't fucking get up. And she's like, my cane, and like, they're like, I don't give a shit. And I think finally one guy reaches back and kind of throws it to her, and is like, get the fuck on then. But it's like, god damn, dude, like, how is it so different, where you're literally merciless against these people who aren't really resisting, but then against these people that are like, fuck you, come and get it. Now suddenly you're like bumbling fucking retards falling on your asses. I mean, an absolute joke of a force. And like, what can you fucking make of that? And it kind of brought me back around full circle to that little saying about the law being like a spider web, because I think us as white people, we have this tendency to like, dude, I don't want to cause a problem. I don't want to run afoul of the law. I want to get along in the society that I'm part of, right? I don't want to be the problem. And when you start seeing that, like, hey, you're becoming a problem. You kind of shrink, you minimize. Like, I'm not doing that. And you try to stay away from getting wrapped up in this spider web that they're coming at you with. And what you see in the UK, especially with this shit, is like, it's not like you up there marching, throwing shit, breaking things, smashing windows, lighting fires, and then they come out, but it's like, okay, well, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to march and say what's on my mind. Okay, well, no, I won't do that. Maybe I'll just protest privately and express my concerns. Okay, I won't even really say anything. I'll just kind of stand here. Okay, I won't really stand here in the street. I'll just stand over here on the sidewalk. And you make yourself smaller and smaller and smaller. But what we see is that they're coming at you, and they're just coming at you with these fucking spider webs of the law trying to wrap you up. And our people are trying to make themselves smaller and smaller. And I'm not a problem. I'm not trying to be a problem here. Where what you need to do, on the other hand, if you follow this philosophy, is it make yourself bigger and say, you want this, fucking come and get it. You fucking want me, you come and fucking get me then. And we'll fucking see. And we'll just see if your little spider web is big enough to wrap up what I'm going to throw at you. All right? Now, again, Bunny Ears here. I'm not talking about here in the U.S. of A., the old red, white, and blue, because here in our country, we don't have these kind of problems. Everybody in this country gets along. So I would never encourage anybody anywhere to break any kind of laws, right? Don't do that. I mean, I'm only talking about this for entertainment purposes only. And even then, we're only talking about, our European cousins. And that's no sweat off my balls, right? So there, with that disclaimer out of the way, right? But, when you come like these Muslims do and you say, no, man, I'm not taking another fucking step, because one more fucking step. What's one more fucking step, dude? I mean, your people are being murdered. Your daughters are being raped. Your sons are being beat the fuck down just walking to fucking school. One more step. What is one more sacrifice going to get you? What are you going to turn a blind eye to next? Because next is they're just wholesale murder. What are you going to turn a blind eye then? You're going to say, okay then? You're going to back up then? No. Because that's the way this is going. They say it openly. So put your big fucking balls on, put your fucking wings on like the eagle you are, and fly through this fucking spider web and tell them, man, fuck you. And that's what kind of leads me to my last piece that I wanted to hit on. The last thing I wanted to hit on here is kind of a white pill, like sort of a white pill. It's like a weird white pill that I wasn't really expecting to stumble across. But check this shit out, man. I was going to get a workout, and I'm looking for some playlists, dude. Like, give me something fresh. And I see this Zyzz playlist, right? And you know who this motherfucker is, dude. So I see this Zyzz playlist, and I had seen the memes before, and I was familiar with the dude, superficially anyways. But I'm like, yeah, what the fuck is this about, dude? Let me get a look at this. So I look up Zyzz and like give me the details on this. And as it turns out, dude, like here's the wait here. So if you don't know who this is, this dude Zyzz was this dude like back in the 2010s that was he was like in his 20s, dude. It was only like a 3-year run of this guy between 19 and 22. And this guy was a young skinny kid, like a young Arabic looking dude, like a real skinny motherfucker, like the ectomorphic body type, right? And this dude got on the juice, right? He's an Australian kid, like he lived in Australia. Got on the juice, and this motherfucker, like he was lifting hard and dieting hard and juicing hard, and he was fucking young and spry. And this dude was fucking 10 shades of jacked. And he was a squirrely fucker, right? Like, so the dude's all fucking jacked. He's doing this, I guess you would call it like influencer shit, like back probably before they were properly calling it an influencer. But he was doing all this shit, making all these little motivational videos and what have you, and had like partied his ass off, like partied like a motherfucker, and eventually ended up dying in a sauna in 2011 in Pattaya, Thailand. Now, before we return, to the Zyzz story, I will tell you about Pattaya, Thailand. I want to preface this with another story that happened in a different Asian country just so I can draw your attention to how fucking heavy this place is. All right. So this other fucking Asian country, I was there in a work capacity and I'm doing some shady shit. And I had opportunity to run into a whole variety of extremely odd characters. So one dude that I ran into, it was a Chinese hitman. I shit you not. Not like a guy wearing fucking leather gloves, you know, sitting in a hotel room with a fucking piano wire just waiting to go. Like, he was this sloppy Chinese motherfucker, always running around in flip-flops and a t-shirt and shit. Kind of a fat fuck. And he's actually a funny fucking guy. But, dude, this guy was a fucking murderer, dude. Like, no question. So where I'm at, there is there was a lot of Muslim separatist activity. And this motherfucker was like the shot caller in the area. So one day, one of these bigwig Muslim dudes shows up in this, like region, like area, sort of like a city, province, I guess you could call it. Shows up over here and is cruising around one of the little walking street markets, right? We had heard about it where we were, that like, hey, such and such figure might be cruising around somewhere today. So if you hear anything or anything goes on, you let us know. It was not a couple hours later, like, yeah, that guy just got gunned down. Broad fucking daylight in this market. Some shit could kick off heavy, man, so keep your ears open. I'm like, dude, I might know. Let me go look. I go downtown to this bar. It's 10 in the fucking morning. I go downtown to this bar. Here's this fat fuck Chinese dude. And he's getting fucked up. And there's all of his boys in there. They're getting fucked up. And I'm like, hey, man, did you do something this morning? And he's like, oh, man, what the fuck? And I'm like, dude, you got to let a player know. All right, let a guy know. People are going off the fucking rails. And he's like, shit, man, this is my fucking town. I'm like, all right, I'm just asking, dude. I'm trying to help you, you know? But yeah, this guy was a fucking blazing fucking hitter. Another character that I met was this Catholic priest dude. And this dude kind of ran a local orphanage. Not really an orphanage, I guess maybe you call it like home for wayward boys or some shit. Because there was a lot of young boys and shit that would just run the streets like street children, you know? And they beg, they steal, and when you give them money, 9 times out of 10, they're going to go to the fucking hardware store and they're going to buy rubber cement and they're going to huff that shit and get all fucked up. But then when they get hungry, they got no place to sleep, then they're going to go back to this Catholic, you know, what do you call it, orphanage, wayward boys home kind of thing, right? So this is another guy that I had met, and I was more than familiar with several of his young charges. And some of these dudes would be my vehicle security. Like, I'd pull up in different places in the city, and somehow these little shits would know, like, they would just materialize. They're like, hey, sir. I'm like, you little fuck, what are you doing here? They're like, I watch your car, sir. I am your, what the fuck would they say? I'm your valet. So I'm like, you're not valeting my fucking car. They're like, I'm your valet, sir. I'm like, fine, man. I'm like, I'll give you some change when I get back. And I'd always have like loose change in the car from buying shit, you know? So these little fucks would they would crash like on the car. They'd sleep on the car. So if anybody comes to fuck with your car, like, they're going to be there. And I'd come back, and then when I'm leaving, I'd just throw change out the window in front of other cars, you know, and hope, you know, they'd get run over or something. But I'd throw change out in the street. They'd all go nuts, snatch up the change, and that was like the ecosystem. You know, until I found out they're using it to buy rubber cement, getting all fucked up on it. But so this Catholic priest guy, this was another person that I had interacted with. So this all links up like some kind of shitty movie towards the end here. You listen. So now, as it happened, some other gangster had introduced me to this businessman. This, we'll just call him Fernando, because I can't remember his fucking name, but I think it started with an F. So he introduces me to this guy, Fernando, this businessman, and this guy's got to be like, he's 60s, early 60s at least, if he's a day, all right? And this guy has a kid. He has a young kid that's like, I think he's turning like 4 or some shit, and he says, hey, you know, Fernando, he's a guy that we want to have some influence with and have some heads up with, so he's having a birthday party for his kid, and it would be real cool if you went. So what you got to appreciate in that part of the world is that, you know, you are very much like the Aryan god that you imagine yourself as, you know, here. If you go over there, it's like if you're going to some kid's birthday party, it's like having a fucking, you know, like a senator or a rock star or something show up to your birthday party here. Like, you show up and it's like, holy shit, you got some American to come to your kid's birthday party? You fucking high roller. So you're like really lending this guy street cred. And I'm like, yeah, all right, man. He's like a guy that we're, interested in and we want to have, ties with. So I'll go to his kid's birthday party. No big deal. So I go to this fucking birthday party. And it's out in the province somewhere. And I go out there and this guy's 60-something. And again, rich dudes like this, he's 60-something. He's got a young kid like this, 3, 4, 5, whatever the fucking kid was, is not super unusual, right? Because they can afford to have a younger wife. Now, I see this guy's wife, and she is fucking blazing hot. Now, I'll tell you, I've never been a dude that especially went in for, like, the brown girls. Like, there are a lot of cats in the military that go in for, like, the brown girl fever thing. And I think, honestly, it's not because of how they look. It's that when you meet them, they're like demure and they're kind of subservient and they try to dress sexy and this kind of shit. So especially, like American military dudes, they bite that hook like no tomorrow is coming, man. They get that brown girl fever. And me, not my cup of tea. But I will tell you, like, by Western standards, this woman was fucking hot. And I was like, fuck. And she's like, oh, hello, sir. Oh, Mr. Coffee. Yeah, Mr. Coffee. But she's like, hello, you have not been to our home before. I will show you around. I'm like, okay, cool. So she's like, this is the kitchen. Okay. Yeah, this is the living space where we can watch the TV. I'm like, okay, cool. The bedroom is here. And then she like steps into the bedroom and she's like, come and look. I'm like, yeah, no. Not today, motherfucker. So you got to be real fucking careful, right? I mean, again, you're kind of a rock star, and I ain't rich, handsome, or good looking, but the last fucking thing I need, right, is to get rolled up put in the wood to some rich dude's wife at his kid's birthday party. So I'm like, yeah, it's very cool. And I kind of scoot right back out to the kitchen, and I shit you not, I'm not standing in that kitchen 2 seconds, and fucking Fernando, Mr. Businessman, comes walking in. Oh, Mr. Coffee, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just looking for the pisser. And he's like, oh, it's just here. I'm like, oh, I thought that was a broom closet. And he's like, oh, don't piss on my brooms. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I still, to this day, don't know if these people were trying to honey dick me or some kind of thing, but what I do know is I did not get pinched in this situation. So hooray for me. Hooray, coffee. Yay. But he's like, so, go there and then come back outside and find your place. And like she had gone to the trouble of doing that shit where you like put a little name tag and fold it just so everybody knows where they're going to sit. So I'm kind of sitting in the back with the not family, like the other people that are, it's like his family and her family and the extended family and all this shit. They're all there. And I'm sitting in the back, and now I go and sit down, and to my right is the hitman. To my left is a Catholic priest and some nun. And Lady Gaga is playing over the stereo at like a 5-year-old's birthday party. And I'm like, dude, this is like a fucking fucked up fever dream. Like, I can't believe this is my life right now. This is fucking bizarro world. This is not reasonable. But I'm telling you that story because I want you to understand when I say that, like, if that is normal, Pattaya, Thailand is like that on fucking crack. Pattaya, Thailand is like, if you think of Pleasure Island in the Pinocchio story, like after everything is all fucked up and everyone has made a jackass of themselves, it's like that all the fucking time. All right. So for kind of background, Thailand is one of the sex tourist hotspots. This was a place that we flew through, like we bounced through Thailand a bunch of times on the way to different exercises. So it's a place, I guess the U.S. maintains some kind of weird military presence there. I'm not sure exactly what or why, but you just bounce through, you hang out for a day or two, you get on a different airplane and you go do whatever you're going to fucking do. I bounced through Pattaya once, and dude, it's fucking insane. So for reference, like, drugs and prostitution are technically illegal in Thailand. But what this means is that, like, if, again, like we were talking about, like if the law is going to be like so, yeah, but everybody is just going to flaunt on through it, Now, it's almost like there is no law. You know, until you piss somebody off enough and they want to come and crack your fucking head open, and they can, and they do. They don't fuck around in Thailand. But until that happens, you can do damn near anything you want. If you want to walk down the street punching people in the face, you can do that shit. It also means that people can come pouring out of bars and stomp you to death, and nobody will come and help you. So there's very much like a law of the jungle feel to this place. It's fucking wild. While you're there, if you want to buy any kind of pharmaceuticals. I mean, I don't know, like recreational drugs was never my thing. I don't really know how one goes about procuring or how things differ country to country. It's not my thing, never been my thing. As far as things like juice, or if you whatever, dude, you got a fucking cold and you want to go get antibiotics, you walk to the fucking pharmacy and you tell them what you want. If you buy something that's going to kill you, that's your fucking problem. I mean, I'm just here to help, right? So if you want to get juiced up, you go in there and juice your fucking ass off. Go crazy. So, I mean, you could be out there sitting at some bar and like an elephant could come up and reach over your shoulder and grab snacks off the bar. One time I was getting something to eat, and it had to be like 2 a.m, and there was a kid running around in the streets selling fucking gum and lighters. And he had to be like 3, and I was freaked the fuck out. I was like, hey, kid, where the fuck is your mom? And he's like, what? Hey, pick me up. And he wanted me to pick him up, put him on the bar. So I put him on the bar, and now he walks all the way around the bar with like a thing of like chiclets, like they do in Mexico, and Bic lighters, selling this shit. Like, come on. And I'm like, God damn. And then he comes all the way back around. I'm like, hey, where's your folks, dude? And he's like, put me down. I'm like, okay, so I just put him back on the ground and he takes off, goes to the next bar. I'm like, holy shit, this place is insane. I mean, if you saw like a guy on fire running down the street, it wouldn't surprise you at all. Like it wouldn't shock you a bit. You'd just be like, oh, a guy on fire. What do you know about that? That's I want to convey like how insane this place is. So rewind now, back to the Zyzz, right? So this guy, his name is Aziz Sergeyevich Shavshirian. All right, so he was born in the Soviet Union just as it was falling in, I want to say, Armenia. And then his family moved to Australia. So when you hear this guy talk, like he's got these little videos that he makes, and he's like, come on, fuck you, let's get fucking shredded, you cunts. And like he's obviously fucking talks like an Australian. But he looks, he's got like this dark skin and he's Armenian, right? So I don't know where that falls out. It's not exactly street shitter. It's not exactly Arab. It's fucking Armenian, whatever, right? So this guy gets into the juice. He's a skinny little dude, gets into the juice when he's like 19 and just blows the fuck up, dude. But stays, like doesn't eat shitty, but just gets super fucking shredded, man. And super fucking jacked. And he's going to all these music festivals. He's going to all this fucking partying shit, doing all this shit. Like this dude started blowing up, man. And he's doing all these photo shoots and all these campaigns and all this kind of thing. And it just becomes this thing. And this guy just kept on fucking partying. And he dies in a sauna in Pattaya. And like we talked about before, dude, like between the juice and the recreational shit, this shit will fuck you up in a hurry. You don't want it, all right? This dude did not get the memo, and this dude checked out of heart failure at age 22 in a fucking sauna. Then his room got looted. Like whoever, I don't know, somebody found him, stole all of his shit that was there at the sauna, went back to whatever hotel he was at, cleaned out his hotel room, and booked down the road. So there's differing stories. Like the official story is that he had a congenital heart defect that wasn't detected, and okay, guy. The other more reasonable speculation is that he just OD'd, which again, not unreasonable at all. And then there was some speculation that he was actually in Thailand to get a nose job, and that his nose job got all fucked up, and that he just checked out on his own, punched his own ticket. So in either case, it is what it is, dude. He was like a fire that burned bright and then, left the scene before he got old and busted like yours truly, right? But the reason I bring it up, man, is because like it is a meme. Like the Zyzz thing is a meme. The thing of like, we're all gonna make it, bruh. That's where that's from. It's from one of this guy's little videos that he made. They're like, come on, bro, you're not going to be a fucking wink cunt. You're not going to just sit there. You're not going to sit there admiring from afar. We're all going to make it, bro. We're going to get fucking jacked. All right. And I'm sitting there and like, in the real world, I can look at this and say that like, yeah, this is bullshit, dude. Like, you got all fucked up on all these drugs. You got fucking dead. That's a big fucking L, But what I looked at and what I dug was looking at a young dude, looking at a 22-year-old guy and that fucking fire, just that little flame for just a second. And as negative as I get most of the time, all of the time, to see a young dude with that flame that was like a scrawny little shit that was going to be nobody forever, is just going to go through life like a schnook, to see that he had made it just for a little while, to see that like, man, the world could be okay, things could go well, I could inspire somebody else. To see that in somebody else, it fucking fires me up, dude. And it makes me want to share that with dudes like you, because I know we get down in this thing that like, man, everything is so fucked, everything is so stacked against us, we're so fighting uphill, our numbers are fucking dwindling. But I'm going to tell you what, man, I want to tell you, just like with the fire that I saw in that dude, that you grab onto your big balls, man. You wade the fuck out there. You grab onto today. Get out there. Enjoy one day in the fucking sun. Look out there and see what you can make of yourself. Whether that's getting your ass in the gym, whether that's starting that book you wanted to write, talking to that girl you wanted to talk to, tell that one motherfucker to fuck off, quitting that job you hate, interviewing for that job you want, doing something that makes your life one step closer to how you want it to be. Because I'll fucking tell you something, nothing speaks like an example. And when you're out there living it, when you're out there walking tall, when you're out there making it, whatever your version of that shit is, other white men are going to see you and go, bro, what do you fucking have that I am fucking lacking? And when you got that self-respect, when you refuse to be beaten down, when you refuse to say, no, I'll just sit here and I'll fucking take another punch in the fucking mouth. No, you can just go ahead and walk over me a little bit more. When you stand up and refuse to fucking lay down one more fucking day, just one fucking day in the sun, to get that kind of energy back in your life, man, dude, that fucking did wonders for me, man, because I'm always fucking pissed off. I'm always down in the mouth. I'm always looking at the shit that's like, man, this is fucked up. This has got to be handled. This is going to have to be fixed. But to just see just a little inspiration of like, look, man, today could be a good fucking day. Dude, you can't put a price on that. So that's what I wanted to leave you guys with today, man, is just one white pill. To pick yourself up, get out there and have one day in the sun. Because when this is all over, we're going to look around and we're all going to fucking make it, bro. So until next time, keep your eyes on the horizon, keep your neck out of the noose. I've been Coffee, and these are my takes.